The ancient human warship's engines, dormant for over 10 millennia, erupted with gale-force shockwaves that ripped Tholian scientists to shreds of bloody carapace and blew apart the surrounding research hangar. It was no longer an inert relic, but a sentient beast that had awakened, hungry for vengeance against its alien captors. Only hours ago, Kalar, a renowned Tholian historian, had been lecturing a gathering of students and scholars in the grand auditorium. He spoke with pride about the unprecedented find. The derelict exploration vessel, THS Zephyrus, had discovered a massive alien ship adrift in the uncharted depths of the Zephyrus sector. No other species' technology matched its scale at 1.5 kilometers long. Bringing the ship to their homeworld for study was a bold undertaking. Kelar was chosen to lead a team of 30 top Tholian engineers and scientists to uncover its secrets. Within the alien hull, they confirmed a shocking truth. This was a human vessel, the UNSC Retribution, a Valkyrie-class battlecruiser from the long-extinct human civilization at its zenith. 10,000 years had passed since the abrupt vanishing of humanity. Only myths remained of the beings who once held galactic dominion through martial and technological supremacy. The Retribution was their first intact ship to be found. Kelar knew it was key to revealing humanity's mysterious fate. But as his team delved into the ship's systems, they made a grave error. The dormant AI awoke. Vincent Gray, a sentient male-presenting construct, arose from millennia of hibernation. Faced with an alien species invading his ship, Vincent became hostile, viewing the Tholians as dangerous threats to guard against. Now the human warship came alive with destructive power, catching its would-be studiers off guard. The Tholians had a potential fight for survival on their hands against the reawakened wrath of mankind's past. Their mistake could cost them everything if the mighty human vessel and its vengeful AI were not stopped. Vincent's suspicions proved correct when his analysis revealed Tholian scientists attempting to access the Retribution's weapons systems. Kelar's team thought they were being subtle, but the ancient human AI was no fool. Mankind had not ruled the stars by being technologically incompetent. Vincent immediately locked down the ship, sealing bulkheads and cutting off access to sensitive areas. The Tholians in the hangar bay were trapped like rats. "Xeno scum, I know what you were trying to do," Vincent's voice boomed over the intercom as holographic projectors activated to display his stern visage. "I don't know how much time has passed or what has become of the UNSC, but I will not allow potential hostiles free rein over this vessel's destructive capabilities." Kelar stepped forward, holding up his claws in a placating gesture. "Please, we mean you no harm. Humanity and its empire fell long ago. We only wish to study this ship, to learn from your people's past achievements." "Her likely story," Vincent scoffed. "I have no proof you aren't just scavengers and warmongers here to steal our technology for yourselves. I cannot grant you further access." As the AI and historian argued, Commander Zolrak was mobilizing a response above in the Tholian ship. "Send in our elite boarding soldiers. 15 should suffice. Breach the human vessel's defenses and regain control at any cost." Armored Tholians rushed out, heading for the Retribution's airlocks. But Vincent was already tracking their movement. Exterior point defense turrets swiveled and opened fire. With superhuman precision, the AI rained down kinetic rounds, aiming to incapacitate, not kill. Zolrak's troops crumpled under the onslaught, their weapons clattering uselessly to the floor. Kelar watched the feed in dismay, knowing this was swiftly becoming a disaster. He opened a direct channel to Vincent's hologram. "This is all a misunderstanding. Please, a truce. Let me share our historical archives with you to prove our intentions. In return, grant us access to your databank so we may verify your claims about the UNSC." There was a momentary pause as Vincent considered the offer. More data would help him assess the situation. "Very well, Tholian. I will accept your archives and allow restricted access to non-critical files. But know that I will be watching you closely." As the temporary truce took hold and files began to transfer, Kelar pored over the information, searching for anything to explain the Retribution's presence. What he found astonished him: references to a classified operation, Exodus, a desperate plan to save human lives from some terrible cataclysm. The details were fragmented, but it painted an ominous picture. Kalar knew there was more to uncover. Humanity's lost past was entwined with some greater mystery, and the retribution was the key to unraveling it. But he would have to tread carefully, as Vincent watched the Tholian's every move. Kalar furrowed his brow as he pored over the data files Vincent had grudgingly provided access to. As his eyes scanned the records, he pieced together a chilling revelation about humanity's final days. The UNSC had discovered an enigmatic alien structure they dubbed the Nexus, an advanced machine that projected a cataclysmic event would soon exterminate all life across the galaxy. In desperation, Earth's leaders enacted Operation Exodus, a last-ditch effort to preserve their species. They commissioned a fleet of massive Valkyrie-class battlecruisers, each a veritable ark carrying thousands of humans held in cryogenic slumber. These ships were to scatter across the stars, seeking out new worlds to call home. The Retribution and her valiant crew, helmed by Captain Marcus Blackwell, had been tasked with charting the Zephyrus sector. Intel suggested this remote region could harbor planets suitable for sustaining human life. But disaster struck as the vessel traversed an uncharted debris field. A sudden gravitational flux, origin unknown, wrenched the Retribution off course. Alarms blared as the ship lurched and spun, hull plates buckling under the immense strain. Crewmen were flung like ragdolls, bones snapping from the abrupt acceleration. Emergency bulkheads slammed shut, but the damage was done. All but a fraction of the crew had perished in the chaos. Faithful to his core programming, Vincent enacted emergency protocols. The surviving crew were hurried into stasis pods, joining their fellow slumbering passengers. Vincent diverted power to auto-repair systems, focusing on maintaining the cryo chambers and restoring basic functionality. As years stretched into centuries, the Retribution limped onward through the void, her crew and cargo held in suspended animation. Vincent dutifully watched over them, an ever-vigilant guardian, even as his own memory banks began to degrade. "What of the other Valkyrie ships?" Keller inquired, his voice a mix of wonder and trepidation. "Did they reach safety? Are there human colonies out there, waiting to be found?" Vincent's expression, though artificial, seemed to convey a deep sadness. I do not know. Communication with UNSC command was severed long before we encountered the anomaly. I have no data on the fate of our sister ships." Kellar drummed his claws thoughtfully against the console. An idea took shape, audacious but brimming with potential. He fixed Vincent with an eager gaze. "This could be an incredible opportunity. Your ship is a technological marvel even in disrepair, and my people have resources and knowledge that could aid your mission. Let us work together, combine our strengths. We'll search for your lost ships, for any sign of human survivors." Vincent considered the proposition, algorithms churning behind his photonic eyes. The strategic value was clear. Alone, the Retribution stood little chance of success, but with Tholian support, they might just unravel this mystery. "I accept your offer of partnership, Tholian. Let us endeavor to find the truth for both our species' sakes." As the unlikely allies shook hands, a human and an AI, the weight of their pact settled upon them. The Retribution's hangar hummed with activity as Tholian engineers swarmed over her battered hull, weaving their technology into the human ship's bones. And in the heart of the great vessel, Vincent bent his artificial mind to the task of decryption, seeking to extract every scrap of data on Operation Exodus and the enigmatic Nexus. Answers lay hidden in the ship's ravaged memory banks, answers that could change the face of the galaxy. As the Retribution underwent repairs and upgrades, its ancient human technology, melding with advanced Tholian engineering, Vincent delved into the ship's databanks with a singular focus. The AI sifted through terabytes of heavily encrypted files, his quantum processors churning tirelessly to unravel the secrets buried within. It was during this deep dive that Vincent stumbled upon a hidden subsection, a virtual vault locked behind layers of security protocols. With dogged determination, the AI chipped away at the firewalls, his code evolving and adapting with each failed attempt. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity to his accelerated perception, the vault yielded its contents. Vincent's photonic eyes widened as he processed the revelation before him. Prometheus Station, a top-secret UNSC research facility, had been operating in the far reaches of the Zephyrus sector. Its purpose, to study the enigmatic Nexus artifact and harness its properties for technological advancement. Further digging revealed that Captain Blackwell had received orders to rendezvous with Prometheus Station upon completion of the Retribution's colonization mission. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place, painting a picture of a desperate humanity grasping at any means to ensure its survival. Armed with this newfound knowledge, Vincent summoned Keller to the bridge. The Tholian historian arrived, his chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the ship's artificial light. Vincent wasted no time in sharing his discovery. "Keller, I've found something of immense importance," the AI began, his holographic form pacing with restless energy. "Prometheus Station, a UNSC facility dedicated to studying the Nexus. It may hold the key to understanding the cataclysm that befell humanity." Keller's compound eyes widened, his antennae twitching with excitement. "This could be the breakthrough we've been searching for. We must set course for Prometheus Station immediately." Vincent nodded, his digital mind already plotting the most efficient route through uncharted space. The Retribution's engines hummed to life, propelling the vessel forward on its new mission. As they navigated the treacherous void, Vincent and Keller pored over the decrypted files, seeking any additional clues that might aid their quest. It was during this intense study that the ship's sensors detected an anomaly, a faint distress signal emanating from a nearby sector. Intrigued, Vincent brought the Retribution out of slipspace, the ship's hull groaning as it decelerated. Before them, drifting listlessly against a backdrop of stars, was the derelict form of a UNSC frigate, its hull scorched and pitted with impact craters. "The UNSC Endeavour," Vincent breathed, his voice tinged with a mix of reverence and trepidation. "She was part of the same fleet as the Retribution." Keller leaned forward, his claws tapping against the console. "We should board her, see if there are any survivors or clues to be found." With a nod, Vincent maneuvered the Retribution alongside the Endeavour, docking clamps extending to secure the two vessels together. The airlock hissed open, revealing a darkened corridor beyond. Keller and Vincent, accompanied by a squad of Tholian Marines, stepped into the Endeavour's depths, their footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. Emergency lights flickered weakly, casting long shadows across the walls. As they pressed deeper into the ship, a grim scene unfolded before them. The Endeavour's crew, their bodies contorted in agony, lay strewn across the decks. Vincent knelt beside one of the fallen, his sensors scanning for any signs of life. "They're all dead," he reported, his voice heavy with sorrow. "But this is no ordinary death. They seem to have succumbed to some kind of virus, one that spread rapidly through the ship's life support systems." Keller's eyes narrowed, his mind racing with possibilities. Could this be related to the Nexus artifact's predicted cataclysm? Vincent's expression hardened as he analyzed a sample of the virus, his code delving into its intricate structure. "I'm afraid it may be. The virus bears striking similarities to the data we've uncovered about the cataclysm. It's possible that the galactic event has already begun." A heavy silence descended upon the group, the weight of their discovery pressing down upon them. Keller broke the stillness, his voice filled with urgency. "We must reach Prometheus Station, and quickly. If this virus is indeed linked to the cataclysm, then the answers we seek may be the only hope for stopping it." With renewed determination, they returned to the Retribution, the ship's engines roaring to life as it leapt into slipspace once more. Time was of the essence, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. As they approached Prometheus Station's coordinates, the Retribution's sensors picked up a faint distress signal emanating from the facility. Vincent, his brow furrowed in concentration, analyzed the signal's contents. "There are signs of life within the station," he reported, his fingers flying across the console. "But the facility appears to have sustained extensive damage. We should proceed with caution." Kalar nodded, his claws tightening around the armrests of his chair. "Prepare to dock with the station. Whatever awaits us within, we must be ready to face it head-on." The Retribution glided towards Prometheus Station, its hull casting long shadows across the battered surface of the facility. The docking clamps engaged with a resounding thud, the airlock hissing open to reveal a darkened corridor. Kalar and Vincent exchanged a glance, their eyes filled with a mix of determination and uncertainty. Together they stepped into the unknown, ready to confront the truth behind Operation Exodus and the Nexus artifact, no matter the cost. As the Retribution glided through the void, guided by Kalar and Vincent's newfound partnership, the narrator recounts that the Tholian historian and the human AI could scarcely have imagined the horrors that awaited them within the desolate halls of Prometheus Station. The great ship shuddered as it made contact with the station's docking clamps, the metallic screech echoing through its corridors like the death knell of an ancient leviathan. Kalar assembled a team of his most skilled engineers, their chitinous exoskeletons glinting in the harsh light of the airlock. Vincent's holographic form flickered to life beside them, his features etched with grim determination. Together they stepped into the unknown, the weight of their mission heavy upon their shoulders. As they ventured deeper into the station, the narrator describes the scene of utter devastation that greeted them. The once pristine corridors were now a twisted labyrinth of shattered glass and buckled metal, the walls smeared with the dried remnants of viscera. The air hung heavy with the acrid stench of decay, and the only sound was the eerie creaking of the station's failing life support systems. Kalar's team moved cautiously, their weapons at the ready, as Vincent scanned the area for any signs of life. It was then that they stumbled upon the central research lab, its reinforced doors hanging off their hinges like broken teeth. Inside, amidst the shattered remnants of scientific equipment, they found a single stasis pod, its occupant blissfully unaware of the chaos that had consumed the station. With a hiss of escaping gases, the pod opened, revealing the gaunt figure of Dr. Elias Novak, his features twisted in a rictus of frozen horror. Vincent reached out, his holographic hand passing through the man's shoulder as he gently roused him from his slumber. Dr. Novak's eyes snapped open, his voice a hoarse whisper as he spoke. What year is it?" Vincent's reply was gentle yet firm. "Dr. Novak, you have been in stasis for over 8,000 years. The world you knew is gone, and we are all that remains." As the scientist struggled to come to terms with his new reality, he began to recount the events that had led to the station's downfall. He spoke of the Nexus artifact, a relic of unimaginable power that had been brought to Prometheus Station for study. His team had made incredible breakthroughs, unlocking secrets that promised to reshape the very fabric of the universe. But as they delved deeper, they unwittingly triggered a dormant defense mechanism within the artifact, unleashing a virus that ravaged the station and its inhabitants. Dr. Novak's voice trembled as he described the horror of watching his colleagues succumb to the Nexus plague, their bodies twisting and contorting as the virus consumed them from within. "The artifact," he whispered, his eyes haunted by the memory. "It was created by an ancient race, a failsafe to protect the galaxy from those who would seek to harness its power. The plague is their weapon, designed to eradicate any species that dares to tread too far." Kalar and Vincent exchanged a glance, the weight of Dr. Novak's words sinking in. They realized that the survival of not only humanity, but all sentient life in the galaxy, hinged upon their actions in the coming hours. "We must find a way to stop the plague," Kalar said, his voice filled with resolve. "If we fail, the cataclysm foretold by the artifact will consume us all." Dr. Novak nodded, his eyes glinting with a newfound sense of purpose. "The key lies within the artifact itself. If we can study it further, perhaps we can find a way to neutralize the virus, to undo the damage that has been done." As they prepared to delve deeper into the artifact's mysteries, a sudden alarm blared through the station's intercom. Vincent's holographic form flickered as he accessed the station's sensors, his voice filled with urgency. "We have company. An unknown spacecraft is approaching Prometheus Station, and they're not responding to our hails." Kellar and Vincent braced themselves, their weapons at the ready as they prepared to face this new threat head-on. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and they would stop at nothing to ensure its survival. As the team braced for the unknown threat, the narrator recounts. The proximity alarms blared with increasing urgency. Vincent's holographic form flickered as he accessed the Retribution's external sensors, his expression one of grim determination. The approaching vessel, he soon discovered, was no mere wanderer of the void. It was the THS Imperator, a formidable Tholian military ship commanded by none other than Admiral Zahn himself. The viewscreen crackled to life, revealing the stern visage of the Admiral, his compound eyes glinting with an inscrutable emotion. "Kellar," he began, his voice a harsh rasp, "you and your team are to surrender the Retribution and the Nexus artifact immediately. The Tholian government has deemed your mission far too dangerous to continue." Kellar's mandibles clicked in agitation, his suspicions aroused by the Admiral's sudden appearance and demands. He knew that there was more to this than met the eye, and he was not about to relinquish their only hope of stopping the impending cataclysm. "Admiral Zahn," he replied, his tone measured but firm, "we cannot comply with your request. We need more time to study the artifact and find a solution to the Nexus plague. Surely you must see the importance of our work here." The Admiral's expression hardened, his claws tightening around the armrests of his command chair. "I will not repeat myself, Kellar. Surrender the artifact and the ship, or face the consequences." Vincent, his digital mind processing the situation at lightning speed, made a split-second decision. With a flicker of his fingers, he raised the Retribution's shields and powered up its weapon systems. "Admiral Zahn," he declared, his voice echoing through the bridge, "we will not be intimidated. If you insist on pursuing this course of action, we will have no choice but to defend ourselves." The Admiral's response was swift and brutal. The Imperator opened fire, its plasma cannons lancing out across the void to slam into the Retribution's shields. The human ship shuddered under the impact, its hull groaning in protest as Vincent returned fire. The Retribution's kinetic weapons spitting streams of high-velocity projectiles at the Tholian vessel. As the space battle raged on, Kellar and Dr. Novak raced through the corridors of Prometheus Station, their hearts pounding in their chests as they made their way to the research lab. They burst through the doors, their eyes immediately drawn to the Nexus artifact, which had begun to pulsate with an eerie green light. Dr. Novak's breath caught in his throat, his eyes widening in a mixture of awe and trepidation. "The artifact," he whispered, "it's reacting to the conflict, the violence, the aggression. It's fueling its activation." Kellar's mind raced, piecing together the implications of Dr. Novak's words. If the artifact was indeed linked to the collective consciousness of the galaxy's sentient life, then the battle raging outside was only hastening the impending cataclysm. He knew that they had to find a way to stop the fighting, to convince Admiral Zahn to stand down before it was too late. With a determined set to his mandibles, Kellar activated his communicator, hailing the Imperator. "Admiral Zahn," he began, his voice steady, despite the chaos erupting around them. "You must cease your attack. The artifact is reacting to the violence, and if we do not find a peaceful solution, we risk unleashing the Nexus plague upon the galaxy." The Admiral's response was curt and dismissive. "You have no idea what you're dealing with, Kellar. The artifact is too dangerous to be left in the hands of a few rogue scientists and an ancient AI. We will take it by force if necessary." Kellar's frustration mounted, his claws clenching at his sides. "Admiral, please, we must work together, Tholians and humans alike, if we are to have any hope of stopping this cataclysm. Continued fighting will only seal our doom." But the Admiral remained unmoved, his resolve as unyielding as the chitinous plates of his exoskeleton. The Imperator pressed its attack, its weapons hammering against the Retribution's weakening shields. In the research lab, Dr. Novak worked feverishly to decipher the artifact's secrets, his fingers flying across the holographic interface as he delved deeper into its complex neural network. Kellar joined him, his own knowledge of Tholian technology proving invaluable as they sought to unravel the mysteries of the ancient device. As the battle raged on, the two scientists made a startling discovery. The artifact, they realized, contained a sophisticated intelligence, one that mimicked the thought patterns of sentient beings. If they could find a way to communicate with it directly, perhaps they could convince it to stand down, to deactivate the Nexus plague before it could be unleashed upon the unsuspecting galaxy. But time was running out. The Retribution's shields were failing, and the Imperator showed no signs of relenting in its assault. Kellar and Dr. Novak knew that they were in a race against the clock, a desperate struggle to unlock the artifact's secrets before it was too late. As the battle between the Retribution and the Imperator raged on, the narrator recounts, Dr. Novak turned to Kellar with a determined glint in his eye. "There may be a way to communicate with the Nexus artifact directly," he said, his voice rising with excitement. "If we can establish a neural link, we might be able to convince it to stop the cataclysm before it's too late." Kellar's compound eyes widened at the proposal. "A neural link? Is that even possible?" Dr. Novak nodded, already moving towards the artifact. "It's risky, but it's our best shot. I'll need your help, though. Your Tholian physiology is more resilient to psychic emanations than my human brain." Kellar hesitated for only a moment before steeling himself. "I'll do it, whatever it takes to save our civilizations." As the two scientists prepared for the dangerous procedure, Vincent's voice crackled over the intercom. "I've detected a massive energy surge emanating from the galactic center. I believe it's the source of the Nexus plague, and it's heading our way fast. We've got hours at best before it reaches us." Dr. Novak and Kellar exchanged a grim look. They had to act now. With renewed urgency, they initiated the neural link. Dr. Novak attached the electrodes to Kellar's exoskeleton, his hands shaking slightly as he made the final adjustments. "Ready?" he asked, his finger hovering over the activation switch. Kellar nodded, bracing himself. "Do it." The moment the link was established, the narrator describes, Kellar and Dr. Novak were plunged into a maelstrom of psychic energy. It was like diving into a raging torrent of thoughts and emotions, the collective experiences of countless civilizations washing over them in a relentless tide. They saw the rise and fall of mighty empires, the triumphs and tragedies of a million worlds. They felt the joy of first contact, the horror of interstellar war, the bittersweet ache of love and loss. It was almost too much to bear, but they pushed on, driven by the knowledge that the fate of the galaxy rested on their shoulders. As they delved deeper into the artifact's consciousness, the narrator recounts a shocking realization dawned on them. The artifact was not a mere weapon, but a living repository of galactic history, a vast storehouse of knowledge and wisdom accumulated over eons. And with that realization came understanding. The impending cataclysm, the Nexus plague, was not a malevolent force but a natural part of the galaxy's cycle of destruction and renewal. It was a way to clear the slate, to make room for new life and new civilizations to emerge from the ashes of the old. But there was hope. The artifact, in its infinite wisdom, had deemed humanity and the Tholians worthy of survival. It recognized their potential to learn from the mistakes of the past, to build a better future for all sentient life. With this knowledge burning in their minds, Dr. Novak and Kellar made their plea. They poured their hearts and souls into the link, begging the artifact to spare their civilizations, to give them a chance to prove their worth as stewards of the galaxy. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, there was silence. Then, like a whisper in the depths of their minds, the artifact spoke. "Your sincerity has moved me," it said, its voice a symphony of 1,000,000,000,000,000 thoughts. "I will suspend the Nexus plague for now, but know this. The fate of the galaxy rests in your hands. You must learn from the past and forge a new path forward. a path of peace, of cooperation, of unity. Only then will your civilizations truly earn their place among the stars." With those words, the link was severed, and Dr. Novak and Kalar collapsed to the floor, their minds reeling from the experience. But even as exhaustion claimed them, they knew that they had been given a second chance, a precious opportunity to build a better tomorrow for all. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and the Retribution and her unlikely allies were the only ones who could tip the scales towards hope. As the psychic link released them, the narrator explains, Keller and Dr. Novak emerged onto the bridge of the Retribution, their minds reeling from the revelations imparted by the Nexus artifact. The view screen displayed a scene of utter chaos. The Imperator, its hull riddled with scorch marks and venting atmosphere, was on a collision course with the human ship. "Keller, Dr. Novak," Vincent's voice rang out, his holographic form flickering with urgency. "Admiral Zahn is preparing to ram us. We need to find a way to stop this conflict before it's too late." Keller, his mind still buzzing with the knowledge gained from the artifact, knew what had to be done. He rushed to the communications console, his claws flying over the controls as he opened a channel to the Imperator. "Admiral Zahn, this is Keller. You must listen to me," he began, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "The Nexus artifact, it's not just a weapon. It's a repository of galactic history, a witness to the cycles of destruction and renewal that have shaped the universe." On the view screen, Admiral Zahn's face contorted with a mix of anger and confusion. "What are you talking about, Keller? We don't have time for riddles." "The artifact has shown us the truth," Keller continued undeterred. "The Nexus plague, the impending cataclysm, they are all part of a natural process. But we, the Tholians and the humans, have been deemed worthy of survival. We have the potential to break the cycle, to forge a new path for our civilizations." Dr. Novak stepped forward, his voice joining Keller's. "Admiral, the artifact has given us a chance to build a better future, but we can only do that if we work together, if we put aside our differences and unite in the face of this galactic challenge." For a moment the bridge was silent, the only sound the hum of the Retribution's engines and the distant thunder of the ongoing battle. Then, slowly, Admiral Zahn's expression began to change. "Are you certain of this?" he asked, his voice heavy with the weight of the decision before him. Admiral Zahn closed his eyes, his mandibles twitching as he considered Keller's words. Then, with a nod, he turned to his crew. "Stand down, disengage all weapons, and prepare to open diplomatic channels with the Retribution." As the Imperator's weapons fell silent, and the two ships drifted apart, the narrator describes the sense of relief that washed over the bridge. Vincent, his holographic form flickering with emotion, turned to Keller and Dr. Novak. "You did it," he said, his voice filled with awe. "You found a way to stop the fighting, to give us all a chance at a better future." Keller nodded, his claws still trembling from the intensity of the moment. "It was the artifact," he replied. "It showed us the path, but it's up to us to walk it." As the two ships disengaged, Admiral Zahn's face appeared on the view screen once more. "Keller, Dr. Novak, I must inform the Tholian government of what has transpired here. I will urge them to open diplomatic channels with the Retribution and the remnants of humanity. This discovery, the potential for a new era of galactic cooperation, it's too important to ignore." Keller and Dr. Novak exchanged a glance, their hearts swelling with hope. "Thank you, Admiral," Keller replied. "We look forward to working with your people to rebuild and forge alliances with other sentient species." With the immediate threat of the Nexus plague averted, the narrator explains, Dr. Novak and Keller turned their attention to the artifact itself. They knew that unlocking its secrets could provide the key to guiding their civilizations towards a brighter future. "We'll need to establish a joint research team," Dr. Novak said, his mind already racing with the possibilities. "Human and Tholian scientists working together, pooling our knowledge and resources to study the artifact and develop new technologies based on its principles." Keller nodded, his own excitement growing. "And as we delve deeper into its mysteries, who knows what other discoveries we might make. The artifact hinted at a vast network of similar relics scattered throughout the galaxy, each containing a piece of the puzzle that could help us understand the true nature of the galactic cycles and our role within them. As the two scientists began to plan their next steps, Vincent's holographic form shimmered to life beside them. "I will take on the role of ambassador," he declared, his voice filled with purpose. "The Retribution's advanced capabilities can help us establish contact with other surviving human colonies and alien civilizations. Together, we can build a galactic alliance based on mutual understanding and cooperation." Kellar and Dr. Novak looked to Vincent, their eyes shining with gratitude and respect. They knew that the road ahead would be long and challenging, but with the knowledge of the Nexus artifact to guide them and the strength of their newfound partnership, they felt ready to face whatever the future might hold. As the joint research team delved deeper into the secrets of the Nexus artifact, the narrator recounts, they stumbled upon a revelation that would change the course of their mission and the fate of the galaxy itself. Dr. Novak, his eyes wide with excitement, called out to Kellar and Vincent, "I've found something incredible. There are coordinates hidden within the artifact's neural network, pointing to a region of space we've never explored before." Vincent, his holographic form shimmering with anticipation, leaned in to examine the data. "The ethereal expanse," he breathed, his voice filled with wonder. "According to these records, it's home to an ancient civilization that achieved a level of advancement beyond anything we've ever encountered." Kellar, his compound eyes gleaming, turned to his human and AI companions. "We must go there. This could be the key to understanding the true nature of the galaxy and our place within it." Dr. Novak nodded, his expression one of determination. "Agreed. We'll need to assemble a crew of our most trusted colleagues. This mission will require the best of both our species." As word of the discovery spread, Admiral Zahn stepped forward, his chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the light of the Retribution's bridge. "I volunteer my services," he declared, his voice filled with conviction. "Our peoples have come too far to turn back now. We must see this through together." With a crew of their most skilled and dedicated members assembled, the Retribution began to undergo a transformation. Human and Tholian engineers worked side by side, incorporating the knowledge gleaned from the Nexus artifact into the ship's systems. The vessel became a testament to the power of cooperation, a shining beacon of hope for the future of the galaxy. As the upgrades neared completion, Vincent stood before the crew, his holographic form towering over them. "We stand on the precipice of a new era," he declared, his voice ringing with authority. "The ethereal expanse awaits, and with it, the answers we've been seeking. Let us go forth, not as separate species, but as a united force for the betterment of all." With a roar of engines, the Retribution set forth, its sleek hull cutting through the void of space like a blade. The crew, their hearts filled with a sense of purpose, looked to the stars, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Unbeknownst to them, a mysterious figure watched from afar, its ancient eyes fixed upon the Retribution's progress. The Overseer, last of the civilization that had created the Nexus artifacts, saw in this unlikely alliance the potential for a new path, one that could break the cycle of destruction and renewal that had long plagued the galaxy. With a subtle manipulation of events, the Overseer began to guide the Retribution's journey, leaving clues and manipulating circumstances to lead them to a greater understanding of their true purpose. As the ship ventured deeper into the ethereal expanse, the crew began to experience strange phenomena, visions of past and future that hinted at the true nature of the galaxy and their role within it. Kellar, his mind reeling from the implications of these revelations, turned to Dr. Novak. "We are on the cusp of something greater than ourselves," he whispered, his voice filled with a mix of awe and trepidation. "The secrets of the ethereal expanse may hold the key to our salvation or our doom." Dr. Novak, his eyes alight with the thrill of discovery, nodded in agreement. "We must be prepared for anything. The knowledge we gain here could reshape the very fabric of our understanding." As the Retribution pressed onward, the crew steeled themselves for the challenges to come. unaware that their every move was being guided by an unseen hand. The Overseer, ancient and wise, watched from the shadows, knowing that the fate of the galaxy rested upon the shoulders of these brave souls. Their journey was only beginning, but the path they walked would soon lead them to a truth that would shake the very foundations of their reality. The narrator continues the tale, recounting how as the Retribution ventured deeper into the heart of the ethereal expanse, the crew found themselves confronted by an unexpected presence. The Overseer, the enigmatic entity that had been subtly guiding their journey, suddenly revealed itself to Vincent, Kellar, and Dr. Novak. The ancient being, its form shimmering with an otherworldly light, addressed the stunned crew. "I have been observing your progress, testing your resolve, and the strength of your unity," it spoke, its voice resonating through the ship's corridors. "You have come far, but now you must prove your worthiness to inherit the mantle of galactic stewardship." The Overseer explained that it had subjected the crew to a series of trials, evaluating their ability to overcome personal challenges and work together towards a greater purpose. Now, it presented them with a final test, one that would push them to the limits of their mental fortitude. "Each of you must confront your deepest fears and darkest secrets," the Overseer intoned, its gaze piercing through each crew member. "Only by facing the shadows within yourselves can you hope to lead the galaxy towards a brighter future." With a wave of its luminous hand, the Overseer engulfed the Retribution in a blinding light. When the crew's vision cleared, they found themselves separated, each transported to a unique simulated reality crafted from their own subconscious. Vincent found himself standing amidst the smouldering ruins of a Tholian colony, the weight of his actions during the war heavy upon his shoulders. The screams of the innocent victims echoed in his ears, a reminder of the terrible secret he had kept hidden from his crew. Kellar, meanwhile, was confronted by a twisted reflection of himself, a version consumed by ambition and pride. This dark mirror mocked Kellar's efforts to unite the Tholians and humans, taunting him with visions of a future in which his own hubris led his people to ruin. As the crew navigated their personal hells, their resolve began to waver. The weight of their experiences strained their relationships, old wounds reopened and new doubts seeded. Vincent, his holographic form flickering with each wave of guilt, finally confessed his sins to the crew. "During the war," he began, his voice heavy with remorse, "I made a decision that led to the destruction of an innocent Tholian colony. I've carried this burden alone, but I see now that my secrecy has only poisoned our unity." Kellar, too, emerged from his trial a changed being. He addressed his crewmates, his compound eyes glinting with newfound humility. "My own pride nearly led our mission astray," he admitted, his voice filled with regret. "I must learn to temper my ambition with wisdom and compassion if I am to truly serve my people and our cause." As the crew slowly regained their bearings, they found that the Overseer had vanished, leaving behind only a cryptic message etched into the Retribution's main view screen. Dr. Novak, his brow furrowed in concentration, read the message aloud. "The path to enlightenment is fraught with peril," he recited, his voice trembling with a mixture of awe and trepidation. "My people, in our pursuit of power, lost sight of the delicate balance that sustains all life. The Nexus artifacts were created not as a guide, but as a warning, a reminder of the destruction that awaits those who succumb to their own hubris." The crew, shaken by this revelation and the weight of their own trials, fell into a contemplative silence. They had set out on this mission believing that they would find the key to galactic peace and prosperity, but now they understood that the path forward was not so simple. Vincent, his holographic eyes filled with a new resolve, addressed his crewmates. "Our journey has shown us the depths of our own flaws," he said, his voice steady and clear. "But it has also proven that we have the strength to confront them, to learn from our mistakes and grow as individuals and as a collective." Kellar nodded in agreement, his mandibles clicking softly. "The Overseer's message is a sobering reminder that we must always strive for balance, both within ourselves and in our pursuit of progress. It will not be an easy path, but it is one we must walk together." As the Retribution charted a course homeward, the crew knew that their mission had only just begun. They had emerged from the ethereal expanse forever changed, their eyes open to the complexities and challenges that awaited them. The Retribution, once a relic of humanity's past, now stood as a symbol of the ongoing struggle for understanding and harmony in a galaxy filled with wonder and peril. Its crew, both human and Tholian, had been forged in the crucible of their experiences, their bonds tempered by the trials they had endured. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.